up, let's start talking about Donnie Darko from the year 2001. So let's look it up on IMDb. Now, I had seen this before. I'd seen it a couple times, actually. But I don't think I really understood the gravity of it. I don't think I understand it now even, but I definitely understand it now more than I did then. But it gets pretty complicated at the end, and we'll get into that a little bit. I'm not going to go super deep into the ending, but we will talk about the general plot and all that. But let's check out the IMDb page first of all. Let's see how IMDb describes the plot. After narrowly escaping a bizarre accident, a troubled teenager is plagued by visions of a man in a large rabbit suit who manipulates him to commit a series of crimes. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. But the other way of looking at it is that Frank is actually trying to help Donnie Darko. So, this is how the movie sort of starts. Donnie Darko, Jake Gyllenhaal, by the way, great actor. It starts off with him sleepwalking. He's waking up in weird places, and we find out it's because this Frank, this imaginary friend, or who we think is imaginary. Maybe he's not imaginary. You know, that's a part. That's definitely one train of thought on this. But the point is that this rabbit man is telling Donnie Darko what to do. He's telling Donnie Darko to do a few things. He flooded the school. He broke the water main, made the school flood, and he told him to leave, then saving his life when a jet plane engine fell on his room, on the roof right where his room was. It would have killed him if he was there, and that of course comes into it at the end, and I may address that, but I don't want to ruin too much about the ending. Oh, Retro Spin in the house with one bit. Donnie Darko, man. Have you seen Donnie Darko, bro? You want to talk about it? Oh, yeah. I don't know if you have Discord or not, but if anyone has Discord, please consider joining the old Discord, checking it out. We can talk about this movie. We could just hang out. You could, you know, you don't have to talk about this movie. But if you have Discord, check out the Discord. How are you doing, Spanny? Spanny. Thank you for the bit. I'm gonna keep talking about Donnie Darko. So 2001, this came out. 2001, you know, what a great year for cinema. You got this movie, you got Rat Race, you got Pootie Tang, you know, you got Ginger Snaps, and the list goes on. There's lots of movies that I like from 2001. The greatest year for cinema, some might say. Anyways. Well, we may have lost a Retro Spin, but that's okay. If anyone's here, thank you for being here. Thank you for the bit, Retro Spin. I'm going to keep talking about this mother-loving Donnie Darko. So Donnie Darko, like I said, the rabbits tell him to do stuff. There's good dialogue. What I remembered most about this was the dinner party scene, or not dinner party, just the dinner scenes with the family, because it's good dialogue, like, how does one suck a fuck, and when Jake Gyllenhaal calls his sister a fuck ass, or she calls him a fuck ass, or so, yeah, that's what it is. But anyway, it's funny, and yeah, it's well written. It's a little crazy when it starts getting into the ending, where it's like, okay, what is real, what is happening? It gets a little confusing at the ending, and I think I kind of get it, but I don't think I fully understand it. I think there's more layers to it than our surface level with this film, but, you know, I like this film. I generally liked it, and I think I liked it more now than when I was a kid. I remember liking, like, the dinner scenes because it was funny, with the how does one suck a fuck and stuff. And Seth Rogen is in this also, by the way. Some people don't know. He has a bit role, but he is in this. This is one of his first movies. He's a sort of background actor, and he says stuff. He does say stuff, but the line that I remember that I like is, "Nice, I like your boobs," or something when he's trying to pick up the love interest. But that doesn't really work out. but that's sort of the point. Obviously, Donnie Darko is the love interest for this woman too, but I digress. And yeah, so like I said, there's that jet engine that falls on the room where Donnie Darko's sleeping. But he's not sleeping there because the bunny told him to leave in the middle of the night. Um, and there's this whole idea of time travel and that the world is gonna end is a big part of this film. Donnie Darko is going to therapy. There's some funny bits with that where he's going through hypnotherapy, and all of a sudden he starts to like go to undo his pants to touch himself, and it's kind of funny because the therapist of course is like, wake up, don't do it, and he's embarrassed. And there's this, it's a pretty captivating film, even if you don't fully understand it, which I don't think I do again, but yeah, it's a fun movie, I have to say. But like, what does it mean? What does it all mean? So I don't really know, but I'm gonna try to delve into it the best that I can. So the whole thing is sort of about time travel in a way, and the world ending, because that's what the bunny is saying to Donnie Darko. And then there's this idea of, okay, we should try to reverse everything. We should try. What if we could just go back in time and fix it all or something? So I'm gonna sort of say spoilers alert, but spoiler alert is loose because again I don't fully understand the ending, so it's hard to spoil something you don't fully understand. I think, but we're going back in time. He's been trying to figure it out. The whole movie, and they sort of show it happening at the end with the film reversing. We see things happening in the film, just going back in time, we're seeing all this footage reverse. So to me this means he figured out how to go back in time. We don't really know if the world's gonna end. We do see the sky opening up at one point in the film near the end, and that is sort of, I think, a hint that okay, the world is gonna end, because that's what they said. How it starts is the sky opens up. So I think that he did go back in time, but then he goes back in time to just die and get hit by the jet engine, and so he never meets this girl. So I don't really know what's accomplished, So there's just a sort of sense of dissatisfaction in a way at the end. So this isn't a perfect movie. I like it. It's artistic, but it's a little bit confusing at the end, but it's still pretty entertaining, I'd have to say. I've spoiled lots of things I don't understand. Fair enough, Huey. Dougie Darko. Hey, it's my dad. Thanks for popping in, Pops. The worst thing about time running backwards would be sucking the poop up into your butt. Okay, good talk, Dad. Nice comment. Okay. I'm gonna keep talking about Donnie Darko. So, I basically talked about but what does it mean though? So who knows? I don't really. There's a lot of like philosophy in this, talking about existential things and like what does it mean, and maybe we just want to change the world. It doesn't matter how, we just want change. So maybe that has to do with him wanting to kill himself. Maybe that's why he goes back and just sleeps and gets hit by the jet. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it means. I don't think this is pro-suicide though, which would be bad. But there's a lot of ways to look at this movie, and I'm honestly, I'm done analyzing it. I don't really know what to think about it, but it is entertaining, and it was funny too. Parts made me laugh. Good dialogue. It's well shot, relatively anyway, and honestly, the story is relatively coherent until the end. It gets really confusing. Lasts about 15 minutes, but no, there's some funny stuff. Like the dad is really good. Oh, there's one part I didn't understand that should have been more coherent. There's a part where the girl's walking into the classroom, and the teacher's like, Drew Barrymore is the teacher, by the way. And Drew Barrymore is like, hey, you can sit next to the boy that you think is the cutest. And of course she ends up sitting next to Donnie Darko, But there's another girl that's sitting next to Donnie Darko already, and she's just like, beat it, bitch, to the girl sitting there so that the love interest can sit by Donnie Darko. But they don't show like where she goes sits. Like, is she just like out of the class now? Like, what happened to her? So I didn't get that. I was like, come on. Like, I know that she was being annoying. Like, they set her up. That Drew Barrymore didn't really like this girl, but like, she's still part of the class. You can't just like kick her out of the chair. Retro spin with the bits. Oh my god, thank you so much, Retro Spin 94. Thank you for the bits. Let's give you a shout out, hey? Everybody follow Retro Spin 94. I don't think Retro Spin's streamed yet, but he may one day. So in case he does, you should follow him. But yeah, back to this film. So there was another thing kind of like that I thought was confusing, and maybe they explained it, but I don't know if they did or not. Because there's a part where Donnie Darko's youngest sibling is in this talent competition, Star Search. It's a real show that happened. And so she's off with the mom. The mom is taking them. And then Donnie Darko and the older sister have a party back at the home. And I don't know where the dad is for this part of the film, because they don't show him with the mom. I don't think. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think they do. And he's not at the home. So I don't know where the dad went for this part of the movie. So that part was a little weird too. But yeah, it's kind of a minor note, but still I felt it was necessary to say. Also, this movie is made in 2001. I thought in my mind that this was made in the 80s, but it's just set in the 80s. So that to me means it did a pretty good job of making it seem like it's, in the 80s. But anyways, I am starting to run out of stuff to say about Donnie Darko. There's a sequel to this movie called S. Darko, which isn't very good apparently. I haven't seen it though. I don't really want to see it. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. But yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal, Drew Barrymore. Oh, Patrick Swayze I thought was in it. And that's another thing that the bunny does. The bunny gets him to burn down Patrick Swayze's house, and Patrick Swayze plays this sort of self-help guru, and his self-help line is like, conquer your fears or something like that. But anyway, he burns down Patrick Swayze's house because the bunny man tells him to, and then if it's found out that he has this whole like library or like shelves of kiddie porn or child pornography. So we find out he's a bad guy because of the bunny. And the bunny, everything that he tells Donnie Darko to do is sort of ends up being kind of a good thing in a way. Because even when he floods the school, he gets to meet that girl. Something good happens out of it in a way for Donnie Darko when the bunny man tells him to do something that seems bad on the surface, like burning down a house or causing a flood, or going to sleep on a golf course, but it ends up being a good thing. So I don't know, I thought that was interesting. So this movie is cool, but there's some problems with it, in my opinion. And I don't think this movie did great when it came out, but it became a cult classic and grew a following. It gained a following. And I want to see. I don't know if it says anything about the box office. Yes, it does. So the budget was $6 million, and then it grossed just over $6 million. So it didn't do great, but like I said, I think it did great rental wise. So I don't think this counts rentals. I think it made a lot of money rentals with people, because that's sort of where it gained its following, is from people renting it and word of mouth. Because yeah, it didn't do great with its initial release. But yeah, no, it's a good film, but it's not great and it's not perfect for sure. But it is definitely a ponder and thought provoking and well written, and there's lots. It's definitely a well made film, to say the least. Not perfect, but well made. Okay, I am going to end it. I think. Let's review. I mean, we just reviewed. Let's rate this film. Thanks for watching, whoever's watching. I appreciate it. Retro Spin, my dad, whoever you may be. Thank you. And thank you, Retro Spin, for the bits. Well, you gave me 6 bits. Thank you so much. Donnie Darko. What are we gonna give it? It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I'm gonna give it 7.5 out of 10. I think that's fair. Some people would maybe give it a little higher. Donnie Darko, what does it get on IMDb? 8. It gets a solid 8, which is fair. But I don't know. I think it's a little too complicated for me. I get that that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I would have liked it to be a little clearer maybe at the end. That's just me. And if you liked the vast open-endedness, that's okay. And I didn't mind it, but like I said, it could have been a little clearer for me, as well as some of the things, like I said, were sort of nitpicks, but little things like the dad not being there seemingly for a little bit. I was like, where'd he go when the kid was in Star Search? And where did that girl go when they put the other girl beside Donnie Darko in the classroom? Little things like that. But anyway, I'm going to put on a song, a beat, if you will, and then I'm going to quickly finish up the review, and then we're going to go to rap music. First, we got to find the rap show music. Here is 220 from Turn Up Music SK. Okay, so, like I said, Donnie Darko, 7.5 out of 10 dogs. It's not a bad film. In fact, it's pretty good. I would recommend it. Check it out on Amazon Prime. It is on there. If you have Amazon Prime, please consider checking it out. But yeah, I liked it generally. It's a little weird at the end, a little bit confusing, but not necessarily bad. I don't think I love this like some people love it, but it's definitely at least good and worth checking out if you've never seen it. Good dialogue, there's some really funny bits, one of Seth Rogen's earliest movies. Little nitpicks here and there, but overall, pretty good film. Donnie Darko, 7.5 out of 10 dogs.